say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power.
And the neck is wide as Broadway for Foundry.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
They both hit hard. Because and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he?
Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith sit down to break down the highly anticipated matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Stephen A. predicts that Crawford could win by decision, but emphasizes the need for caution. He recalls Gervonta Davis's warning that Crawford might find himself in trouble if he engages too much with Canelo. With Alvarez's natural size and power advantage, Stephen A. argues that Crawford must rely on defense, speed, and ring IQ rather than risky exchanges.
Greatness. And her neck is wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power
It's a
shot.
power shot, yes.
And that's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble, and I'm not sure it was him, but I think it was him. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight.
Max Kellerman offers a slightly different perspective, noting that Crawford's overall skill set appears sharper and more technically polished. However, he points to Canelo Alvarez's durable chin and naturally larger frame, which provide significant advantages in exchanges. While Kellerman acknowledges Canelo's size, he also highlights that Alvarez's recent performances have shown slight decline, making this fight a battle of Crawford's timing and precision against Canelo's size and resilience.
Great chin, a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. So you briefly mentioned Canelo's power. So who, I would assume Canelo has.
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop match.
Former champion and respected boxing analyst Antonio Tarver also weighs in. Tarver expresses strong support for Terence Crawford, but acknowledges the massive challenge this fight presents. He points out that Crawford has proven himself across multiple weight divisions, yet this bout represents an entirely new level of difficulty. According to Tarver, it is not only Crawford's toughest test, but also a unique challenge that Canelo himself has never faced before.
I'm Bud County all the way, but this is going to be the toughest fight, the best fighter Bud has ever been in the ring with. And arguably, this could be the best fighter Canelo has ever been in the ring with. We'll find out which one is which on September 13th.
Antonio, I appreciate your time. Safe travels back home.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
Timothy Bradley Jr., known for his sharp boxing IQ, analyzes how the opening round could unfold. He predicts a cautious, measured approach from both fighters, with neither willing to take unnecessary risks early on. Bradley explains that Crawford often uses the first round to read his opponent, set traps, and analyze movement, while Canelo also tends to feel out distance before making adjustments. This suggests that the opening round may look more like a chess match than an action-packed exchange.
Crawford wants to feel his punching power as well. You know, in the beginning, all the position balance. Like both guys are going, trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm. You know, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. You know, it takes Crawford a little bit of more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, you know, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. You know, and the indication of that is when if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. You know, he usually takes off, just feels the power, you know, cruises, you know, see what these guys know, a couple of feints, level changes, you know, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a little like calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? And let me explain. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, you know, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe.
Amir Khan, who has shared the ring with both fighters, provides a unique insider's perspective. Khan acknowledges Crawford's greatness in his natural divisions, particularly at welterweight, but warns of the risks involved in moving up to face a naturally bigger opponent. He stresses that weight divisions exist for a reason, and stepping in against Canelo is a bold gamble. According to Khan, Crawford could elevate his legacy forever with victory, but it also puts his career at serious risk.
We did all the build-up, they were nothing but respectful. Yeah. I just feel that, you know, in boxing, weight divisions are made there they make them for a purpose, and I highly respect and say pound for pound the best fighter is Crawford by far, beats anyone. But when you start putting weight on and you go up a weight and you fight these guys like Canelo, even though Canelo might be now getting a little bit older and might be slowing down a little bit, but he's still going to be very dangerous. That punch power, you're still going to get tagged, you're still going to get hit. You're going to have to spar heavier guys to get ready for that anyway, so you're going to be taking a lot of wear and tear anyway. You're going to have to put adding a few pounds on. Does he need to put that pressure on himself? He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy? But obviously you want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for that Canelo. I would advise him not to go for that. But if he's the man and he knows how good he is himself. So I can't really say to him that do this or do that. So really,
he believes in his skills. He feels
he believes in his skill. We can't answer for him. Yeah. We let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? And we all might be wrong. Yeah. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well, that he might do really well in there. So look,
you fought them both. Like what are the differences between them? Obviously it's way
Canelo's strong and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean. Yeah. So really that's the difference. And they both hit hard. Yeah. Because and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much weight? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go for fighting?
Promoter Tom Lafleur takes a broader view, focusing on the magnitude of the event. He highlights how Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford represent two of the biggest names in boxing, with enormous fan bases spanning nations and demographics. Lafleur describes the fight as not just a clash of skill, but a collision of two boxing empires. Canelo's established reign as the sport's face against Crawford's rise as the pound-for-pound king. He insists that very few modern fights match this level of hype and significance.
Profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that. And, you know, you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. Both have very passionate fan bases. You know, Callum having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there in the free arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., from one of the biggest boxing name families, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that, like I said, doesn't get any more for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to the sport is just so sincere. He's so real, being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to his craft. And his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge...
Trainer Dave Coldwell offers a technical analysis of Crawford's unique style. He points out Crawford's seamless ability to switch stances and his underrated footwork, which allows him to control distance, frustrate opponents, and dictate rhythm. Against a power puncher like Canelo, Coldwell argues, these tools will be essential. He believes that as long as Crawford can stay mobile and avoid being trapped against the ropes, he has the ability to outmaneuver Alvarez and accumulate points.
When the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. Just think different. Something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, it's great. Which is very good at southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. Punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit, just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet, never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement for feet. His feet aren't the fastest. And he loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's gonna know about it. Because Crawford's been out before. Crawford gets hit, does get hit. That's why he's excited. He does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on it. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb. Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle, to get that distance.
Another analyst reflects on the differences between the two fighters at this stage of their careers. Crawford's strengths include his sharp southpaw ability, excellent judgment of distance, and smart punch selection. While not necessarily possessing fight-ending power against a bigger man like Canelo, he may have enough pop to surprise or sting Alvarez. In contrast, Canelo's punch output has slowed with age. His foot speed has never been elite, and he prefers not to fight at a high pace. These factors could tilt the...
I mean, you see the weight class that Canelo is already, he owned weight class. So, and he even went up higher. So, I mean, he's already proven what he can do and what he can take at those other weight classes. So, I mean, I don't know, but if anyone can do it, it probably would be Terence Crawford. I mean, the guy seems like he's amazing. I mean, I'm a big fan of Terence Crawford, but I'm a big fan of Canelo as well. So I mean, one of those situations where somebody has to lose. So I don't know who's gonna lose. But I think that it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a great.
Jeff Mayweather brings the discussion back to size and weight. He stresses that Alvarez has long been comfortable at super middleweight, where his power and durability are maximized. By contrast, Crawford is moving into a weight division not truly natural to him. This raises questions about how the added pounds will affect his speed, stamina, and durability. For Mayweather, Canelo's comfort at this weight is an inherent advantage that Crawford cannot ignore.
Any position to critique and criticize Canelo. But one of the things that he's gotten in trouble with in the last couple of fights, not being able to cut off the ring. You know, you go to the William Skull fight and you watched him chase William Skull around and around and around that ring. And yes, William Skull was running from him. That was pretty clear to see. He was on his bike utilizing his jab, but you didn't see Canelo cut him off. You didn't see him move laterally to be able to stop a lot of that running or stop a lot of that circling around the ropes, which is his responsibility if he's going to take the front foot and look to establish himself offensively. And when I watch Canelo here, he's gotten away with this pretty much his entire career, but I watch him cross step a lot. And you see it right there, where he goes from circling, he rolls under the right hand, and instead of moving laterally, replacing his back foot with his front foot, he L-steps and then crosses over, which instead of just moving laterally and shifting, like I said, shuffling to his right off of the L-step, off of the reset, which would allow him to be ready to go and ready to fight again, it takes him that extra beat to get back into.
A Ring Magazine analyst focuses on a specific tactical weakness in Canelo's recent fights, his struggles to cut off the ring effectively. Against opponents who use movement and angles, Alvarez has shown difficulty in trapping them long enough to land his biggest punches. Crawford, whose style is built on mobility and precision, could exploit this flaw. Unless Canelo improves his ability to close space, he may find himself chasing Crawford rather than dictating the action.
Canelo, I've been a fan of his for a long time, and likewise with Crawford. I never thought there was a version of reality where they'd both be in the ring with each other. I initially automatically assumed, because Canelo's obviously beaten, he was the light heavyweight champion of the world, undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. He's just campaigned at a much bigger weight, so good things can be little, usually. So I saw them standing next to each other and they looked the same size. I couldn't quite figure it out. It's like, okay, if they're the same size, then it's literally pound for pound. Who's pound for pound better? And that's it, both pound for pound fighters. A lot of people have got them 1 and 2. And I favoured Canelo starting off, but over time, I'm starting to think, once again, Crawford is one of those guys where he'll only reminds me of kind of Andre Ward a little bit, their mindset. And he wouldn't put himself in a position if he didn't know for sure he had enough firepower to deal with someone of Canelo's stature and Canelo's history. But it's the 2 best fighters on the planet, mixing it up. Yeah, it's like one of those dream fights, the proper trade fight. You know, anyone who's interested in boxing wants 2 living legends going at it. Yeah. I can't believe it's actually happening. Does that make sense? Because they're so big in their own right. The fact that fight would never have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It just wouldn't happen. Now, anything's possible in boxing, anything's possible.
Former champion David Haye provides an interesting shift in perspective. Initially convinced that Canelo's size and power would overwhelm Crawford, Haye admits that his view changed after observing Crawford's training and preparation. He now sees Crawford as a legitimate threat with the tools to neutralize Alvarez's advantages. For Haye, Crawford's relentless work ethic and technical sharpness give him a real chance at victory, even against a larger and stronger opponent.
Me analyzing and watching Crawford over all these years, I just cannot bet against dude, bro.
No, you can't.
I'm going to roll with Crawford, and shout out to Nebraska, and that's just what it is.
I'm so glad you here, big man.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my bread down on Crawford, and I'm gonna live with the results.
You were a DB, right?
I played wide receiver, kick return, punt return.
Oh, I thought I think you was a DB.
Oh no.
Even being a wide receiver, you fit the bill of a Terence Crawford. If Terence was a football player, he more than likely would be a DB or a wide receiver.
Yeah.
How much weight did you put on leaving?
Jeff Horn and other veteran fighters conclude the debate by pointing to Crawford's elite defensive discipline and mental toughness. Horn warns that Canelo's size advantage may not matter if he cannot land cleanly against Crawford's slick defense and counterpunching. Another veteran emphasizes that Crawford's consistency, resilience, and ability to rise to the occasion set him apart. For these fighters, the bout is not just about size versus skill, but about Crawford's chance to prove once again that he belongs among the sport's all-time greats.